Hi, friends. It's Andrea Michelle, and I just wanted to record a brief video on the solstice, the ingress of the sun into Cancer tomorrow, December 21st. Hi, friends. This is Andrea Michelle, and I just wanted to record a very brief video on the Capricorn ingress, the sun ingressing into or entering into the sign of Capricorn. For me, it happens December 21st. For others, it may happen tomorrow on December 22nd, depending on your time zone. But one of the things that I wanted to illustrate in this chart is the very prescient, very precise signature of the sun in a T-square with Jupiter and Ceres. So I'm going to share my screen. So here we have the chart. I want to bring your attention here first to the sun here at 0 degrees Capricorn. Ignore the houses, please, because this is just from where I'm located near Seattle, Washington. But the houses are not as important as the signs and the planets where they are in the signs. But you'll notice here, bring your attention here to Jupiter and Ceres. Now, for those of you who have followed me or know my work at all, or have seen some of my YouTube videos, the few that there are, you know that I'm a big fan of Ceres. I have a very long video on my YouTube channel, which you're welcome to check out, on Ceres, which a dear friend of mine pointed out could be probably broken up into multiple smaller videos. I'm going to be doing a lot more writing in the next year around Ceres, and especially her dance with Jupiter, which will continue in some way, shape, or form. It's been going on for about a week now and will continue through February of 2023. And then they come together again in opposition at the end of 2023 in mid-October. But for now, there is something about Jupiter entering Aries again at the Aries point at the solstice with Ceres here. And to me, the signature means a number of different things, but primarily one of the things that it best indicates for me, especially on a solstice, is that no matter what we discover in any one moment as our truth, the opposite is equally true and valid. One very obvious example. So for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, the sun ingressing Capricorn, it's the winter solstice. It is the darkest day of the year, the day where the sun will successively begin to, the light will start to come back slowly as we move on through Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, so on. But what is equally true is in the Southern Hemisphere, this sun ingress into Capricorn represents the brightest day of the year. In other words, the day of the sun, the day being the longest. So whatever we think in our perspective is the truth, somewhere for someone else, maybe even a different part of our psyche, a different truth is equally valid and equally alive. So to me, the sun in a T-square with Jupiter and Ceres is, as much as we want to seek up and out and forward and moving, Jupiter expansion, vision, possibility, the future, joy, there is equally in us a valid truth of deep grief, of a descent, of a remembering our humanness, our capacity to overcome any obstacle, any sorrow, any grief, any obstacle, which is truly an initiation for us that we can't see our way out of or see our way through just yet. Same here. When we are in the depths of grief, it's always true that there is a way out. In other words, as high and up as we go, we need to go down and in to help balance, to find the center point, to find the light in the dark, or the dark in the light. That they are not at odds with each other. And the intrapsychic functions can come together that seemingly are in opposition with each other, come together at the center point, the stillness point, the in-between point, which is perfect here as the sun, which is our solar center, often experienced as our heart. The heart is the place where the reconciliation of the depths of our grief and the highest point of elation meet and balance each other in a beautiful, loving embrace and acceptance of all things concurrently, the both and. Something else I want to point out here. As a sky astrologer, I'm always aware and noting where the planets are in their cycle with the sun. So Jupiter here is squaring the sun in his waning cycle. So in other words, Jupiter and the sun have already had their opposition. This is the waning square of the Jupiter cycle. Jupiter is an evening star. You might have been seeing him in the sky after sunset for quite some time now. So this is the final square of the Jupiter cycle. In contrast, the Ceres cycle began in the summer, the new Ceres sun cycle, and this is the opening or waxing square of the Ceres cycle. And again, interestingly, this Jupiter in Aries in the evening star portion of the cycle, which is generally an us, we, them orientation of the sun cycle, we have the sign of Aries. In the morning star portion of a cycle, which Ceres is in, it's more of an I, me, mine orientation, but we find her in Libra. So even in their positions within their greater sun cycle or heliacal cycle, there's this beautiful inner reconciliation of polarity possible here. So Aries in the us, we, them portion of this Jupiter cycle. Ceres in Libra in the I, me, mine portion of her cycle. And the push and pull and the dynamic tension that is ever present to move us forward, to perpetuate the motion of becoming, even as within the stillness, there is also a never has not been component. I hope on some level this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense initially, that's awesome too. I would just encourage you to just sit with what I just shared here and the dynamic tension and the possibility that it potentiates. And one last thing that I would draw your attention to here, there's a lot of other things going on in the chart, but in addition to what's happening here between Jupiter, Ceres, and the sun, there's also the moon squaring Vesta here. So the moon in the sign of Sagittarius, Vesta in Pisces. And what I see that as is our search for truth is an intimate affair. It's as close to us as our heartbeat and our breath. The moon, the most intimate aspect of who and what we are, right? It's the most personal in a sense. And Vesta can be where we are too engaged in what's comfortable, but it's also where we are devoted most. So our devotion to ultimate truth, to discovering ourselves beyond form, has to include our form, the moon, has to include a search within our form. This square also speaks very much to and is an echo of this dynamic in its own way. Ceres, just a reminder, was the only one of the Olympian gods to become human for a time. She grieved, she raged. She had the full spectrum of human emotions and experiences in order to get through her initiation and come out the other side as one of the most compassionate and generous of the gods. So I wanted to make this short and sweet. I hope this is helpful. I really felt compelled to make this video. And again, there's going to be more coming through around Ceres and especially her dance with Jupiter as it unfolds, because there's so many other layers and dimensions to this very potent Jupiter-Ceres dynamic, which again will evolve and unfold over time. I wish you all a very, very happy, deeply restful, and revitalizing solstice, whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. And may you appreciate and love all of what happens for you in your experience at any one moment to the best of your capacity now to receive all the blessings you are available for. Happy holidays and much love.